Welcome, crypto fam, to No One Daily Bitcoin Pod. In today's show, I'll be sharing the latest Bitcoin technical analysis, as well as US-Canada tariff flip-flops have the Bitcoin miners on their toes. We'll also be discussing CZ denies recent report of Binance deal and defends Trump. We'll also be discussing the US Bitcoin ETFs finally break their outflow streak with 13.3 million worth of Bitcoin ETF inflows. Also breaking news, Rumble embraces the Trump era crypto strategy with a 17 million BTC purchase. We'll also be discussing the latest from Michael Saylor strategy to sell 21 billion in preferred stock to make a 21 billion Bitcoin acquisition. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this plus so much motherfucking more in today's show. Let's dive right in. Without further ado, if you're new to the channel, important, smash the likes. Go ahead, subscribe. We're the number one day of the Bitcoin pod. Then ring the bell. Turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto newsletters every single day, 7 days a week, just like this. Today is pod episode 1932. I'm your host, JV. Yeah, it's March 13, 2025. Market is correcting, currently just above $80,000. Let's kick it off with our market watch as we do each and every day. Bitcoin down 3%, Ether down 1%, XRP, BNB, XLM, and Tron in the green, but barely. And checking out the coinmarketcap.com. We're currently sitting at a 2.62 trillion crypto market cap. The Bitcoin market cap all the way back down to $1.593 trillion. We got roughly 92 billion worth of volume for the past 24 hours. And the Bitcoin dominance is currently at 60.7%. Ether dominance all the way down to 8.5%. And checking out top 100 crypto gainers past 24 hours, we got Sonic, Stellar, and Cospa. Very modest gains as the majority of the market is correcting. And in the red, let me know which alts, if any, you're bullish on for the bull. Holla at your boy. And checking out the crypto bubbles, we get a visual perspective on the daily. Safe to say 90% of the market in the red. And zooming out on the monthly, shit. It's like 95% of the market in the blood red, Rec City. Tis what it is. And checking out the Crypto Green and Fear Index. Today, we're all the way up to a 45 fear. Yesterday, 34. Last week, a 25 in extreme fear. And last month, a 47 neutral. And checking out the time chain calendar. We're currently on block number 887,646. And we have 162,354 blocks until the next halving of 2028. And you currently exchange one fiat monopoly dollar for 1,244 sats. So pick up the sats, put down the gats, pick up some Bitcoin caps from my man Sergio over at bitcoincaps.net. And if you don't know, now you know, broskies. Let's continue, dive into today's technical analysis, aka astrology for the broskies. Bitcoin price drops 2% as the falling inflation boosts the U.S. trade war fears. And here's the young Jedis right here dueling it out for the battle of the biddy. Anyways, Bitcoin shrugged off gains at the March 13th Wall Street open as the U.S. inflation markets continue to fall. Here, looking at a 1 hour chart, I'll be pulling up the live charts here shortly. Trading views showed Bitcoin circling 81.5. We're currently at 80,300 at the time of the live stream. The February print of the PPI came in below the median expectations, copying the CPI from the day prior. Quoting the Bureau of Labor Statistics, on the unadjusted basis, the index for final demand advanced 3.2% for the 12 months ended in February. So in February, a 0.3% increase in prices for the final demand goods offset a 0.2% decline in the index for the final demand services, and already a double tailwind for crypto and risk assets. Cooling inflation also stunted a rebound of the US dollar strength, as viewed here. You can see from the DXY chart. Now, despite this, both stocks and crypto remain unmoved, leading trading resource Kabisi letter to tie in the ongoing U.S. trade war, quoting them here. As we have seen, the market has had a very muted reaction to inflation data that would have previously sent the S&P sharply higher. Why is this the case? This data provides President Trump a reason to keep doing what he is currently doing. I mean, look at the S&P chart not looking so great right now. This is exactly why markets are not recovering losses following some of the best inflation data in months. It continued, suggesting traders should buckle up for more of the volatility. In a week before the Fed's interest rate decision, which is coming next, market expectations for financial easing remain similarly lackluster, with a chance of a cut at just 1% per data from the CME Fed Watch tool. As outlined right here, the Fed has already decided steady course, no cuts. This FOMC, Jay Powell made that clear last week. Rate cuts more likely will be in May or June and not in March. What are your thoughts? Let me know if you agree. Meanwhile, the Bitcoin price action thus sat between bands of buy and sell liquidity on the exchange order books, with the 200-day simple moving average in place as resistance. Material indicators shared that this typically functions as support, this particular trend line, during the Bitcoin bull market, which was the nearest important level to reclaim. He also stated Bitcoin faces strong resistance at the 200-day moving average for the fourth consecutive day. And if you don't know, now you know, broskies. And I promised you guys to pull up some of the live charts. Let me do that for you guys, and we'll get back to the commenting. And again, welcome everyone to the live stream. The stream is live and interactive, so make sure to let me know where you're tuned in from. Here, as you can see here, this is just a 1 minute chart. Rising wedge formation, a sensation, live chart action, Jackson, satisfaction via TradingView, via Coinbase. Zooming out from here, take a look at the hourly chart. And as you can see, we also have the rising wedge on this chart, a bull formation, bull target, which would send us back to price discovery, sitting at 110,000. Current all-time high is 109.3, achieved on January 20th, which was Trump inauguration day. Also a inverted head and shoulders target sitting at 92.3, which would take us up roughly 12,000 from the current price action. Zooming out from the hourly, we take a look at the 4 hour. The 4 hour chart says we're going up forever, JD. We also have a green bull target double bottom here, 113.7 in play, and we also have 110 in play, and that's a blackjack, baby. And zooming out from the 4 hour, we take a look at the daily, and as you can see here, Nippinator indicator says we're heading to 2.2 million, and Max Kaiser's target is right on point. Rising wedge formation, also red target 116,783 for the fallen wedge. And speaking of falling wedgies, we also have a price target for a double bottom at 113,702. And besides the bull targets, we also have some bear targets. One is all the way down to 49,000. But let me know if you think the bottom is in. And zooming over the daily, we take a look at the weekly. Still has the sexy cup and handle target sitting at 124 G's. The bad news is Sunday we had a very bad weekly close. The prior week, previous Sunday, we had a weekly close in the red. Let's see if we can finally flip her around as we're already, halfway through March. We only got a couple of more weeks until we put a bow on Q1 of 2025. And thus far, it's been pretty corrective. We've been downhill since Inauguration Day, which has been the current top. And zooming out from the weekly, we take a look at the monthly. And the monthly says, hit the gong, JV, and broskies, hit that bong. Happy 420. But yeah, obviously you can see thus far March has been bearish. Obviously we have a couple weeks yet to go into the close. February, unfortunately, was pretty bearish. January was in the green. December, itty bitty red print. And November was the most bullish candle close we have seen since the inception of the Genesis block. Well, next story of the day. Regarding the Bitcoin miners, this is the Nippinator gives us our next indicator. How do you like those apples? Yeah, US-Canada tariff flip-flops have the Bitcoin miners on their motherfucking toes. Bitcoin miners are adapting their business strategies as the continued trade war between the U.S. and Canada makes energy prices and policies all more uncertain. President Trump threatened to double his tariffs on steel and aluminum from 25 to 50%. Pretty much a double up, leading the government of the province of Ontario to walk back its own plan to increase the cost of power exports to the U.S. Ontario Premier Doug Ford promised to further increase the surcharge or even shut off the electricity completely, given further provocation. However, he appears to have softened his stance. What a gine. The trade war may have reached a lull, but some crypto firms are looking ahead at possibly the policy changes in order to protect their growth. Ben Gannon, the CEO of Canadian Bitcoin mining firm Bitfarms, told Bloomberg that the recent energy price hikes, had they gone through, were unlikely to affect his firm's business. Bitfarms' operations are mostly in Quebec and British Colombia, both of which boast significant hydroelectric capacity. In relation to the total provincial energy mix, Ontario, by comparison, is not as robust as an energy market. And over the last several years, they have really taken a big push on cutting back the baseload capacity. And here you can see the Quebec power production by energy source, total generation of 212.9 TWH, and you can see the majority by far, 94% of it is hydro, 5% wind, 1% biomass, and then the rest all less than 1%, the petroleum, the solar, and the natural gas. But even though Bitfarms' energy situation may look solid for the time being, Gannon said the tariffs have implications for what policy and regulatory frameworks are going to look like in the future. He said that his firm wants to see a greater access to the electricity markets, as well as fewer regulations on setting up a new business or a new power application. Energy policy has been contentious area of debate for Canadian politics, and critics accusing the Liberal government, now led by Prime Minister Mark Carney, of harming the Canadian economy with their strategies to lower emissions. Why gotta harm the people, bro? He said the opportunities that are present in the U.S. are also present in Canada, and I think that this will all resolve itself and end up in a much more deregulated and smooth and efficient market, because for years it's been tied up in regulatory red tape. Now, tariffs on goods such as steel, aluminum, and other industrial products intended to encourage domestic production of the U.S. also impact the Bitty miners, with some effects being unexpectedly beneficial. And I mean, I'm not going to read you the entire thing, but let's scroll down to where the China tariffs squeeze the Bitcoin mining hardware. That's right. Canadian miners like Bitfarms may be unconcerned for the moment, but Trump's tariffs on China have already begun to squeeze the American crypto miners who import hardware from China-based firms like Bitmain. And according to Bloomberg, shipments of the Bitty mining hardware from China to the U.S. were experiencing significant delays. As of February, the delays reportedly were the result of the U.S. blacklisting Bitmain's AI affiliate Shaman Sofo Technologies. Heavy custom fees for inspections of the Bitmain affiliate hardware have cost U.S. miners upwards of $500,000, according to Vinshu, director of the global logistics service at the Compass Mining. New tariffs could make new imports of next-generation miners to the U.S. completely cost prohibitive. So you can see, man, I mean, a lot of drama here for the Bitcoin miners, but nonetheless, one thing we do know for certain, the higher the Bitcoin price goes, typically the more profitable the Bitcoin miners will be. But we know every halving, the block rewards get slashed in half. And currently, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 450 Bitcoin being minted and awarded to the miners each and every day. But obviously, the lower the price goes, the more pressure it puts on those miners to have to, for example, sell some of their Bitcoin holdings to pay for the operational costs, electricity costs, employees, things of this nature. But as the price soars back up, that puts them all in pretty significant profits. And overall, I'd say Bitcoin mining is a very lucrative business, especially if you're an OG and you know what you're doing and you have access to the latest technology and all that good stuff. You know what I mean? Let's continue where we left off here, broskies. We got 1,000 people on the stream. Make some noise. But yeah, man, this was an interesting headline. Shout out, Bruce. I appreciate you subbing to the pod. CZ denies reports of a Binance deal and defends Trump. That's right. The former Binance CEO, Changpeng Zhao, better known as CZ, denied many of the claims on a Wall Street Journal report, suggesting that he had been actively seeking a federal pardon from U.S. President Trumpster. March 13th on X, which is today, and X marks the spot. Following the release of the report, CZ said he had no discussions regarding a business deal between the Trump family and Binance. He further, Binance. He further denied claims that he wanted a presidential pardon from the Trumpster, which could potentially allow him to assume an operational or management role at Binance. Quoting him here, no felon would mind a pardon, especially being only one in the U.S. history who was ever sentenced to prison for a single BSA Bank Security Act charge. And also, he is the most wealthiest man to ever sit in a prison cell, just FYI. Feels like the article is motivated as an attack on the president and crypto. I mean, what do you expect from the Wall Street Journal? That's all they do. And the residual forces on the war on crypto from the last administration are still at work, which leads me to believe it's a Democrat-ran report, the Wall Street Journal. So Anyways, this is what CZ wrote on X. Sorry to disappoint. The Wall Street Journal article got the facts wrong. More than 20 people that have told me they were asked by the Wall Street Journal and other media, can you confirm CZ made some deal for a pardon? They probably asked hundreds of people to have 20 people reach out to me. In essence, they tried hard to make a story to report. Fact, I've had no discussion of a Binance deal with anyone. No felon would mind a pardon, especially being the only one in the U.S. history has ever been sentenced to prison for a single Bank Secrecy Act charge. Feels like the article is motivated as an attack on the president and crypto, and the residual forces of the war on crypto from the last administration are still at work. I am always happy to make crypto great everywhere, U.S. and the rest of the world. It's good to see that even the Wall Street Journal thinks I should be pardoned. And as you know, I believe he had to pay like a $4-point-something billion fine to the Department of Justice and to the SEC, who wouldn't let him be. Let CZ free, now let him be. Stack the BTC. But yeah, he's still one of the most wealthiest crypto folks in the world. I know at one point his wealth was like 50 billion. I have no idea where it's at now. Who knows? But he's still got to be worth at least like $30 billion, I would assume. So yeah, the most wealthiest person to ever be in prison. He served, I don't remember the exact term. It was a few months and he got out. He was doing those push-ups every day. Precisely what you should do. Yeah, man, just a $4 billion fine for breaking the Bank Secrecy Act. Next story, family. Here we go. Here we go. Bitcoin ETF outflow streak has finally ceased. We finally got 13 million worth of inflows. It's about time. Yet the market's correcting. Over 1.67 billion exited U.S. spot ETFs in March, but investors stopped the bleeding, bringing in 13 million on March 12th as the biddy price market price inched closer to 85, and we're back at 80 here today. As of March 12th, the spot Bitcoin ETFs attracted 35 million worth of inflows spread across 2 days, according to Farside data outlined on your screen. On the other hand, spot Ether ETFs recorded inflows on just one occasion, bringing in 14 million on March 4th, as you can see here. Now, according to Soso Value, the cumulative net inflows of the BIDI ETFs confirmed the recent 13 million inflow on March 12th, signaling a pause of the Bitcoin ETF outflows. The total value of the trades that day for the BIDI ETFs amounted to just above $2 billion, its lowest daily value since Feb 20th. The inflows were contributed to 3 Bitcoin funds, which include BlackRock's iBit, the largest in the world. We have ARKB, as well as Grayscale Bitcoin Mini Trust, as shown here. On the Ethereum side, the 1 day of inflow saw contributions from Fidelity, Bitwise, and Grayscale, as outlined here. The broader market downturn and the macroeconomic uncertainties have contributed to the ETF outflows, driven by geopolitical tensions, trade wars, and bearish investor sentiment. Analysts say the lack of the concrete implementation or unmet expectations regarding Trump's strategic Bitcoin reserve plan has also exasperated the selling pressure. Despite Bitcoin maintaining levels above 80 Gs, market watchers warned that the upcoming European Union retaliatory tariffs could introduce a greater volatility, further influencing the Bitcoin price trajectory. And if you don't know now, you know, Susan. There you have it. Next story of the day. Big news coming in from Rumble. And shout out Rumble. As you know, we stream live each and every day on Rumble. It's an uncensored platform that respects our First Amendment right of the U.S. Constitution, and that's very profound and a reason you guys should also support Rumble and specifically support us on Rumble. Because if shit hit the fan and YouTube terminates my Crypto News Alerts channel for the 19th time, you'll have a backup. If you're not following me on X or Rumble, when shit hits the fan, which it will, it happens every year, they terminate me for no apparent reason, at least we'll have a backup. So please go ahead and follow me over on Rumble. The headline here reads, Rumble embraces Trump-era crypto strategy with $17 million Bitcoin purchase. That's right. Rumble says it had purchased more than 17 million worth of Bitcoin as part of the previously announced investment strategy. In a March 12th notice, Rumble said it added 188 Bitcoin to its treasury for roughly $17 million. The investment suggests their CEO, Chris Pavlovsky, in November, and I had the honor to meet Chris at the Max and Stacy Invitational. He attended the event over in El Salvador. I didn't get to speak to him for long because we were both talking with people, but nonetheless, it was cool just running into him. Nonetheless, he's an OG as well. Following Trump winning the U.S. presidential election, if you're watching, Chris, cheers and congratulations with setting up Bitcoin strategic reserve strategy for the company, and love what you're doing on Rumble. He was touted as a hedge against inflation as part of the broader move to deepen ties to the crypto industry. The platform hinted it could make additional Bitcoin purchases dependent upon the market factors, and though Rumble did not specifically mention Trump or his attempts to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve and crypto stockpile at the federal level, Polovsky's social media post suggests strong support for the U.S. president's policy. Well, of course, us Bitcoiners support one another. Rumble's cloud currently hosts Trump's social media platform. Oh, I didn't know that. Truth Social. So Truth Social, Trump's platform, is hosted by Rumble's cloud. Good to note. The president's primary method for public communications, and entered into an agreement with El Salvador government in January to provide services. That's what's up. Now, with Bitcoin on its balance sheet, Rumble joins a list of companies that have invested in crypto following November election, including AI firm Genius Group and software company Saylor Scientific. The share price of Rumble stock fallen roughly 34% since January 1st, and since January 20th, the Trump admin had deepened ties between U.S. government and the crypto industry through executive actions, as we've been following here on the pod. The U.S. SEC, one of the biggest financial regulators of the country, announced it would be dropping investigations and enforcement actions against many crypto firms over allegations of unregistered security offerings. Trump also hosted many crypto executives and CEOs at the White House March 7th as part of the summit to discuss the proposed national Bitcoin reserve and crypto stockpile. Trump's proposed BITI reserve, which could be codified into law if Congress moves forward with the legislation, could see Bitcoin seized by the U.S. authorities hodled rather than sold at auctions. However, it's currently unclear how this action may affect the price. I'll tell you how. It's going up forever, Laura. Obviously, it's very bullish that the United States of America established a Bitcoin strategic reserve, but the price action today doesn't reflect that, which is mind-boggling to so many of us. But just remember, Bitcoin is a patient man's game, and those who are willing to hodl 4 years or longer are all in the black, in the green, meaning you're winning. But you got to be willing to hodl at least 4 years. If you're not in this for the long haul, sell your Bitcoin now and do something else with your life. That's my advice. Michael Saylor, Rumble, El Salvador, they need your Bitcoin apparently more than you do. If you're questioning selling that BITI, that's all. If you can't hodl at least 8 years, I say double the 4 year minimal. If you can't hodl for 8 years, why even Bitcoin, bro? You know what I mean? But if you can actually do that for 4 and 8 years, 2 cycles, there's a strong possibility it transforms your family's financial landscape for generations to come. That's why I would encourage you guys to have a long-term perspective when it comes to Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Now for our featured story of the day. Michael Saylor's strategy to sell $21 billion in preferred stock for another massive $21 billion Bitcoin acquisition. Let's break this down. This was big news that just came in. With a $21 billion preferred stock issuance, strategy takes a calculated step, I'd say that again, towards expanding its Bitcoin portfolio amid the fluctuating regulatory and economic conditions. Michael Saylor recently shared a strategy announcing this big announcement, 21 billion STRK at the market program. He also released this, press release. So I'll give you all the highlights and everything you need to know. And shout out to the Giga Chat, the one and only Mikey Saylor. That's right. Michael Saylor's firm Strategy B, which was rebranded from MicroStrategy, which happened to be the first publicly traded company to put the preload BITI on the balance sheet back in 2020, will offer $21 billion in preferred stock as a means of building up its Bitcoin stockpile. And they currently hold roughly 500,000 Bitcoin. So I dare speculate a $21 billion purchase will give them another 250,000 Bitcoin in a single swoop, which would give them a grand total of roughly 750,000 Bitcoin. And the lower the price goes right now in the dip, the more Bitcoin they'll be able to acquire. I mean, naturally, right? So yeah, they released this press release. According According to the press release, Strategy entered into an at-the-market offering of its Series A preferred stock. I mean, Saylor, after all, he's the Bitcoin alchemist. This is quoting him here. Strategy expects to make sales of perpetual strike preferred stock pursuant to the ATM program in a disciplined manner over an extended period, taking into account the trading price and trading volumes of the perpetual strike preferred stock at any time of sale. In addition to the purchase of the BIDI, funds from the company's latest offering will go towards the working capital as well as the general corporate purposes. And Bitcoin has experienced a slump in the recent weeks, with the coin currently hovering at 80,000 at the time of the live stream over concerns amid Trump's economic policies. Strategy also seen a recent decline in value. Their stock plummeted roughly 9%. News of Strategy's ATM program comes just days after Saylor attended the White House Crypto Summit, which we covered in great detail in the pod, where he unveiled the digital asset strategy designated to generate up to $100 trillion over the next decade for the U.S. economy. And that's massive news. He's proposing Trump to purchase between 5 to 25% of the Bitcoin supply. And let's just speak on the high end, the bull all-in scenario. 25% of the Bitcoin supply is close, like 5.25 to 5.5 million Bitcoin, which would be like 1 million Bitcoin per year if they were to go all in. Cynthia Lummis proposes for the United States to purchase 1 million Bitcoin, proposing 200,000 a year over the course of 5 years. But let's get back to the report. A digital asset strategy to dominate the 21st century global economy would see different types of crypto clearly defined and labeled according to their regulatory class. And am I sharing my screen? Good, I am. I'm just making sure. If enacted, the comprehensive framework would establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve, which Saylor claims can raise up to 81 trillion in wealth for the U.S. Treasury by 2045. So let's break that down in layman's terms. Right now, the United States is allegedly 37 trillion ballpark in debt. Well, Saylor says within the next 20 years, within the next 2 decades, that they can raise $81 trillion worth of wealth by accumulating this Bitcoin as a strategic reserve. That would completely eliminate all of our debt, just like that. Blackjack. In addition, the plan mandates an end to the hostile and unfair tax policies of the crypto miners, holders, and the exchanges as a means of increasing the sector's legitimacy and prosperity. Quoting them again, a strong forward-thinking strategy will unlock trillions in economic value, strengthen national security, and position the United States of America as the undisputed leader of the digital age. Amen. And as Michael Saylor aligns Strategy's future closely with the BIDI, investors face an intriguing dilemma. Participate in a bold financial experiment or adopt caution amid the crypto's inherent unpredictability. Again, leading back to the biggest FUD they throw at Bitcoin. It may be up 150 million%, but it's so volatile. Yeah, again, I'll take the volatility. You know what I mean? What is gold up? 2x in 16 years? I'd rather be up 150 million% with the volatility. Anyways, while Strategy's ATM offering positions the company as a confident leader in the digital asset accumulation, the recent downturn in both Bitcoin's price and the firm's stock signals potential hazards ahead. Talk about the Dukes of Hazzard. I mean, we're living it. Saylor's ambitious policy recommendations might offer transformative economic opportunities. I ain't talking about Optimus Prime type transformers either, but their adoption is far from certain. Investors must now weigh the optimism against the pragmatism, deciding whether Strategy's vision is prudent planning or risky overreach. What are your thoughts? And be 100% transparent with me. Do you think this guy is putting unnecessary risks at the stake of his shareholders with all the unexpected volatility that Bitcoin can cause us? Or do you think this man is doing God's work, right? Let me know your honest thoughts. I'll read your comments out loud. VZ, you're only 21, brother? Fantastic. That's a blackjack. 8 years younger than... I'm only 13. I look older because I'm Italian and I got this beard. I grew a beard when I was a newborn, a toddler. Wait, infant, newborn, infant. Yeah, the beard started coming in very young. The chest hairs as a toddler. And it's a wrap. 48's the new 21. Exactly. Double blackjacks of 42. And then you double of the blackjack for the inception of the blackjack, and all of a sudden, you're at 84. I like the upside vol. Yeah, I don't mind the upside volatility either. Be quite honest with you. Keep accumulating no matter what.